And today's the day, Robin, the 50th anniversary of our alert helicopter and our alert program. It isn't just helicopters anymore. And to talk with us about it and help us celebrate, we have the Alert Flight and Ground EMS Director, Rich Mickelson.
Well, thanks for having me. And also I'm joined by Matt Weller. He's our lead helicopter pilot.
Oh,
with
yeah.
The program.
Okay. The guy flies this thing all over the place.
Yes, now, I saw the helicopter at Lake McDonald Lodge, I think it was this last week, and that it took off. I don't know, there was a medical emergency or something. Huh?
It was. I was on that flight.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Fortunately, they didn't need us to transport a patient on that one.
Well, I on my way up, I had a aid car come by me. So did they use ground transportation? Or?
They did end up going by ground.
Oh, okay. Right. But you guys are on call.
That's yeah.
Were you able to help them out before they transported him?
We were. Our crew was able to get hands on and check out the patient and determine they didn't need air ambulance service, and were able to go by ground.
So the 50th anniversary, Rich, boy, how did we get this far?
Yeah, unbelievable. And we are excited to be here and appreciate the opportunity. 50 years is a lot of years of just legacy and what it took to get the program going, the sort of the visionaries that really took off with it, and sort of begins back with obviously the timber industry, logging industry. And there was one incident back then in around 75 with a tragic accident of Dennis Buck and the loss of his life, young father too. And it really was the triggering point for really Clyde Smith, who really was the founder of some of this, and along with some other individuals, which I'll mention later.
Denny Buck and I go all the way back to Hedges.
Yeah. So
we go way back. Yeah. So a lot of his classmates around here remember Denny.
Yeah.
And I had heard that he had gotten killed up in the woods. A chain snapped or something, and just cold cocked him.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that incident sort of led to really increased discussion on we can do better, and obviously, and Clyde Smith being a co-founder of the Montana Logging Association, he rallied the troops. He got the people around him within the community to start really a mission of the community to sort of birth and grow what has become Alert today.
Well, this was a major problem back then for the timber industry. In fact, one of the things most people don't know is that workman's comp costs were just going right through the roof because they had no way to rescue these people when they got hurt. It's a very dangerous job. And so they had to do something, or we may well have lost our timber industry right then and there.
Correct. And even up here, the figures show that really with our remoteness, our challenges with being rural up here, that we ran like about a 20 times the national average fatality rate, just because of the inherent risk along with the timber industry. So you're right. It definitely was a challenge back then.
We had to do something about that because, as we said, the timber industry was getting to a point where they couldn't afford the workman comp anymore, the workers' comp insurance, and that would have caused all kinds of repercussions throughout the entire industry. Yeah.
So I think what Clyde did is he rallied individuals within the community, some key people who I call visionaries, Ted Parrott, Hank Galpin. There's EMTs, Kim Potter, Mick Mills. Jack Davis was the original medical director, and he had a history of serving in the Air Force up in Alaska, so had ideas of, okay, there's a need here within the valley to provide an emergency rescue team and get individuals to be taken care of and that were time sensitive, that needed to get to definitive care. Ruth Barber's another one I want to mention, and George Clark. And so these individuals really led the charge following Dennis's tragic death and going to the community groups and rallying, whether it be Highway Patrol, Forest Service, Lions Club, Rotary Club, and really getting the community to support and build what is Alert today.
It was just about impossible to get back up to these people who were injured. My dad was a Kalispell firefighter, and of course they handled the ambulance at the time. And getting an ambulance up those back roads, it was a tough one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And about all they could do, they were just, these guys were advanced first aid. So about all they could do is take the resuscitator up there and give them air until they got him back down, if they could get him back down. So that's where you guys come in.
Sure. I was just thinking, as you mentioned that, just something as simple as a spotted bear transport, which for the helicopter, it's a 17-minute flight to get there from Kalispell, but it's several hours by ground, as you would imagine. So often we're first on scene. We get the patient taken care of, packaged up, and loaded, and long before any other ground responders get there.
What determines whether it's flight for life or whether it's ground transportation?
It's usually the patient acuity is what drives that. And then sometimes it's just the remoteness. So something that might be a relatively minor injury, but it's going to take hours and even sometimes days to get a patient out. We can have them out in just minutes.
And that's probably the difference between living and not.
It certainly can be.
Boy. So talk with us a little bit about the kind of rescues that you're able to do.
Sure. We're doing advanced life support, of course. We just I just look back over, I came off a night shift just a few minutes ago, and the span of our shift last night was interfacility transfer. We picked up a patient in Libby earlier in the day. They were on a search and rescue call up in the park where they were searching for what someone believed was a fall victim. Then just a few hours after coming home, we had another rendezvous with Eureka Ambulance because they're struggling to maintain that advanced life support up there. So we rendezvoused with them to pick up a patient. It's just kind of a full spectrum like that.
And that's just in the past, what, 10 hours?
About 14, I'd say.
14 hours, all right.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of effort.
We're busy. We are definitely busy.
What prepared you for this job?
For me personally, it was the military background. I was served in the Army for 10 years. I was in the Coast Guard for 10 years and been here for 17 now. So we always say this isn't a job you come and learn how to do on the job. You don't build experience here. It's everything that you bring to the table from your previous life and experience that gets you the job.
My gosh, in the Coast Guard, you were doing all kinds of water rescues.
Yes, sir. Open water stuff.
Yeah.
Far offshore. Really dark. Very scary sometimes.
And of course, in the Army, that's a whole different deal.
Yeah, it's still dark and scary, but then people are shooting at you.
So this is a little more tamer than that, but I'm wondering how in the world you're able to get into some of these tight spots.
It's a lot of training, a lot of experience, a lot of teamwork. We work together. All three members of the crew are responsible. We've all got just as much to lose, we say. So we have a mantra of 3 to say go, 1 to say no. If any crew member feels uncomfortable at any time, they can call off the flight or call off the landing. Even last night, we had one where it just got way too dusty to get into the first spot we wanted, and so we repositioned and went somewhere else. Just because, like you mentioned, it is very difficult, very demanding. We fly with night vision goggles. We're using the latest white phosphor night vision goggles, and that helps immensely to tackle the nights around here.
Wow.
Right now, we're in a series of, I think everybody's been noticing the real nice weather, the high pressure, but there's just absolutely no moon at all right now. So it's pretty dark still at night.
Does it still have that green glow on the nights?
We still have some of those, but our latest generation are a white phosphor, so it's more of a black and white image.
Oh, that's a big help.
It is nice. It's much less fatiguing on your eyes.
Mm-hmm. We had starlight scopes in Vietnam, but heck, that was 1968.
It's that same technology, just a few years later.
It was amazing what we could do with those. This is exactly the 50th anniversary of the Alert program. September 25th, 1975 is when it all began. And you were telling me, Matt, about the first flight?
Yeah, the first flight that's documented for us was September 25th, 1975, and it was a pediatric case in Browning. And ironically enough, this morning the crew's in the air as we speak, and they're headed to Browning for a pediatric call.
Oh, my gosh.
50th anniversary of this very day. Was
this
the
very
launch
day,
time.
this very moment, they're in the air.
Gosh, that's ironic. So talk with us about what we're doing today.
You know, today, if over the time, over 50 years, and again, the hundreds of staff who've dedicated themselves to this program, and pilots, mechanics, nurses, medics, have continued to progress with the program and advance it. I think basically when you look at air ambulance service now and even ground, it's really, we've tried to become more of an extension of the hospital, trying to initiate some of those life-saving interventions earlier in the field, basically, is we can get to scenes. And like you asked about what types of patients, we look at it as minutes matter. Is the heart attack, somebody having a heart attack that's hiking in the park, or somebody who's having a stroke, those are where minutes matter for us. The sooner we can get them back to a location that can get blood flow reestablished to their brain or to their heart, that minutes matter to their expect, how the outcome is for that patient. And the same for the trauma patient, that again, if they're bleeding out, we've got to get that stopped. So the extension of the program and advancing the skills of the staff, resources, those things have complemented basically the program's ability to continue with the time to improve the ability to provide more quality care.
What brought you to this program?
My background is in air ambulance, critical care, and in ER. What brought me here was I think an ability to be part of this legacy. Really, we had an opportunity, like most healthcare organizations or businesses, where you look at things recently. And I know this past year where the hospital and took a look and say, is there other ways to do things? Is there a different way to look at at alert? And basically we made a comprehensive evaluation and decision that we're going to keep it hospital based. It's going to stay with the FAA certificate, still maintains within the hospital. Pilots are part of the hospital, part of alert. We're all one. And we're going to continue that mission forward and maintain that legacy that was put forward 50 years ago. So for me to have an opportunity to be part of that, didn't have to twist my arm.
Here we are. We started out with one helicopter, and now we've got, 2 helicopters. We have fixed wing aircraft. How are we utilizing all of this equipment?
Great question. So 2011, we did add the fixed wing airplane into the fleet, basically add to the mission as our scope, our mission of the hospital expanded. But then really to provide the ability to extend care to patients, whether that be the transfer of them to another location where they need care. Matt provided a great example earlier this year of a individual. Did you want to talk about that, Matt, with the hip fracture? How that ties in with the helicopter and plane?
Sure. We had a call several years ago up near Marias Pass. A gentleman fell off his roof and fractured his hip. We dispatched the helicopter up there, and we were able to pick him up approximately 25, 30 minutes probably after the initial call. Then we transported him back. He was stabilized here at Kalispell, then packaged up, put in the airplane, and I think it was all told it was less than 4.5 hours after falling off the roof on Marias Pass that he was in surgery in Seattle. And that was the team effort of us picking him up with the helicopter, getting him stabilized here at the hospital, then transported out again.
Do you fly both aircraft?
No, sir, just the helicopter.
Just the helicopter.
Those airplanes scare me.
And then another component, John, that we've added probably about 6 years ago was a dedicated pediatric neonatal team, specialized in the care of that, just like Matt's talking about for that pediatric patient over in Browning. That team is specially trained to take care of that patient population and bring them back to our specialists here at Logan Health.
This is the sort of thing you would expect in a city like Seattle or Denver or Washington, D.C. or New York. Would you expect this sort of a thing in Kalispell, Montana?
Yeah, I think you should. I think you've got individuals who, just like the community saw 50 years ago, you've got individuals within the industry who do it for the right reason. They have the experience. They see what needs to be done. They get the skills. We provide the support needed to continuously get better to take care of patients. And that should be an industry standard within EMS and air ambulance. So yes, is the answer.
I think 50 years ago, that vision, that just didn't exist. So we take for granted now that we see them on TV and movies everywhere, helicopters doing these missions, airplanes doing these missions, but it just didn't exist. And so to have that vision, that look ahead, and the ability to rally the team and implement this thing. That's what's incredible. 50 years ago in sleepy little Northwest Montana.
Yeah, but we had to do something. We can't save lives if we can't get them to the hospital.
Correct. And this like we're doing now, we're looking for opportunities. How do we get better? We always have to look, how do we get better? And that's where we continue to add, adjuncts in and resources. And again, this would not be without the support of the community. I believe since 2000, $10 million has been donated from this community to support Alert. $10 million since 2000. And we wouldn't be able to do it without the community support.
Talk with us about how you keep everybody current. Obviously, as a pilot, you got to stay current, and the FAA is very strict about that.
Very strict, for sure. We get a visit every year from the FAA. We've got one helicopter pilot that kind of checks out the rest of us, and then he gets checking one of us. They're very adamant about the care and the work that we put into this certificate that Rich alluded to. It's very unique that an organization our small would have a certificate like that allows us to operate in this manner. So a lot of scrutiny. Our airplane pilots get checked twice a year. We also go to a factory training school, the Bell Helicopter School in Texas. And then our fixed wing brothers, they go out to Arizona, I believe, for simulator training every year.
Mm-hmm. And how about the nursing?
Same thing. So, and that is an advantage just with us being a hospital-based program, is our staff, our nurses, our paramedics, they spend time in the hospital. So they're able to build trust, relationships, and skills, practice skills with the providers that we work with and the staff. So again, same type of thing. We're always checking competencies, skills, practice, so they can, when the call comes, they can almost do those things without talking to one another as a team. And again, those are things we constantly check, practice.
We must have
our mechanics as well. They're all factory trained. They also get certified every year, and they're also scrutinized by the FAA. They'll come sometimes with very little notice. They just pop their head in the door and they want to look at the airplane, the helicopter, look at all the records. We're very fortunate. One of the things Rich was able to do was get us another mechanic onto staff, and that helped the guys out a lot. We've seen the impact of that just recently, a few days ago, in fact, of having 3 guys that are able to turn things around much quicker.
Now, these guys that work on these craft, they've got to have power plant and airframe certificates, and that takes a lot of training and upgrading.
And nowadays, all the computer-based stuff, it's they're in the computer trying to figure things out, and they said, I never learned that in school, but they've got to know now.
Yeah.
What about the next 50 years, guys? What's the future of the Alert program?
That's it's an exciting time. I mean, we are excited to not only maintain that legacy, but then how do we build for the next 50? Yeah. Some of the things we're doing, and one of my positions is I oversee the flight program MedFlight out of Billings Clinic, and we have a base in Bozeman too. So basically, it's putting us in an advantage, I feel like, where we can take the best of all worlds and take the best practices, standards, equipment, resources, knowledge, experience, and just share those pieces and parts to get, like I said, get even better at our quality.
Now, is there a way that you interface with Billings, these other flights? I mean, do you guys do coordinated things?
We're starting to do more and more. That's been more of a recent sort of direction, a piece that I do work with all those programs. Okay. And so again, we're trying to build that together for the future.
Okay.
Do they have similar programs at Billings?
They do. It has some differences in them, but similarities as well. Okay. And again, that's sort of like where we're merging, interfacing some pieces and parts and practices, trying to optimize those. Again, what's best practice? What's the most efficient? What do we learn from one another as organizations and programs?
Well, it's a whole different feng shui in Billings and Bozeman than it is here.
It is. It's different for sure.
And you guys have a lot more background than any other operation in the country, I think.
Yeah, and when I was thinking about it, because the program in Billings started in 1979.
Right.
So, I mean, we're talking 96 years between the two when you combine them.
Yeah.
It's a lot of years.
Now, looking back on the history of the Alert program, I understand you've got something you're doing with the Northwest Montana History Museum.
I believe we are going to do a talk there.
Right,
You know
I think
when
Next Tuesday.
next Tuesday. That
Yeah.
sounds right.
they were able
got
to
a whole-
grab a bunch of equipment and old paperwork and just a lot of different things and stories. And I think they are going to.
That'll be great. I thought,
Yeah.
I know every year at the Alert Banquet, there's stuff to look at, so I didn't know what, I thought maybe they had a fixed display they were putting up.
I think
for
it's
a
a
month.
temporary display, but it is going live at the end of the month, I believe.
Okay, yeah, it's Tuesday, September 30th. That will open
Yeah,
down there.
that's their big open house and everything.
And even at the hospital today, we're doing a little bit of a cake and refreshments for anybody that wants to stop by. From 11 to 2 in the lobby. We're going to have a little bit of an alert celebration there to honor the 50th.
Well, I'd be there for the cake, but I've got another commitment.
Should have brought some with me for it.
Wouldn't be the same. Wouldn't be the same. Guys, congratulations on all that Alert has meant to all of us here. And I know we all sit here and think, that's neat, but I'll never need it.
Never can tell.
Boy, you never know.
Done 22,000 flights with the helicopter. So that's a lot of people that didn't think they needed us, but did.
3,000 lives saved.
Right,
So there you go.
Thanks for the service,
Boy,
guys.
for sure. Alert Flight and Ground EMS Executive Director Rich Mickelson and the Chief Pilot Matt Weller. Always a pleasure, you guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.